the UK scene will follow, where kit bikes will be used. So we consciously made the decision that we would race kit bikes this year, knowing that they would be down on the factory bikes. British Superbike, there's 10 factory bikes out there, so we knew what we were going to be up against. Obviously, somewhat demoralising for the riders and for ourselves. But we're getting there, we're getting closer all the time. We're getting into fifth, sixth places, so it has improved throughout the course of the year. But rules have changed. So it's changed the whole perspective of the whole way we've got to look at things.
The rules have changed because Grand Prix have decided to take on four-stroke, so therefore Flamini Group, the Octagon Group that run that World Superbike, have changed their rules, and basically that's put you out of step with the rest of the world at the moment then.
Well, it has really, because we were obviously gearing everything to 2001 with kit bikes. We'd been running them a year, we've got a lot of experience with them, we knew where we were going, knew what we were doing with them. Then they say factory bikes can stay in there next year.
Okay, well I know that you guys have been in quite high-level meetings during this week. Obviously the success of the teams must have been discussed and the budgets must have been discussed. Why don't Honda UK just pay for the full-blown works bikes? Are they available to you?
At the moment, obviously with Suzuka going on, there's not a lot available. We did get an engine swing arm for the TT, which obviously Joey did the business on. But to get hold of them is not easy. It's a new generation bike, it's brand new, and there isn't a lot of the bikes about. I think there's one in America, one for French endurance race, obviously the World Superbike bikes, and a couple of 3 in Japan. But that's it at the moment. So effectively, we don't even know whether we could get the engines and the bikes.
2001 is coming as far as Superbike's concerned. Are you staying with us? Are you staying in Superbike for next year? Are you going with the high-spec bikes for next year?
There's a question, Keith. What are we going to do? That's one of the things we've been discussing this week, obviously. You know, we are committed for this year with the kit bikes, but that is what we've been looking at, whether or not we go with factory bikes next year. The thought is that we would like to get hold of factory bikes and race in the British Superbike Championship next year for sure.
Okay, let's get down to some classes that we know you're very successful at. 125, every bike is a Honda, so you must be very happy with that. Why do you get involved in a class where it is all Honda anyway? I mean, you don't need to support that kind of class, do you? Is it just goodwill?
Yeah, Honda is about racing, and that's what it's all about. And so we have varying levels of support. There's not massive support in there, but just to show that we are committed to every class. And we have a limited amount of support. Obviously, like Appleyards run some 125 riders, and they are a HRC centre, so everything ties in. You know, there's all the politics behind. You know, they're a HRC centre. We want to look after them, get them successful.
Okay, moving up to the 250s, you've got John McGuinness that's riding brilliantly on the 250 at the minute, current reigning champion on a Honda as well. What kind of level of support have Honda got involved in that class?
Yeah, that's probably a bit more, obviously through the Birdie team, once again Appleyards, some help to Paget's. We're quite committed in that class because there is other bikes sneaking about in there having a look at us. And obviously with John, with his roads ability, which is very important to a Honda, the TT, of course, with his roads ability and his short circuit ability, he's an ideal candidate for the future.
Superstocks must have been disappointing for you as well this year at the moment. The Yamaha's got off to an absolute flying start. The Fireblade, which is a very good bike, struggled a little bit in the early rounds. Were you surprised at that?
Not really. When you're going in against a bike that's been developed over 2 to 3 years, I think it's a 3-year generation bike now, and we're first time in, we are reasonably happy with what's going on. Things are getting better, the bikes are getting better, we're having a look there. Certain circuits, obviously the Yamaha is better on, other circuits we're better on, so swings and roundabouts, but we're coming there, we'll be there.
I've left the best till last, of course. I mean, Snetterton, I'm sure you were very happy to see Jim Moody win because he's not a better all, but no longer riding for Honda. What kind of repercussion running through Honda at the moment now that he's taken his points off to Yamaha?
None at all. We knew what would happen when we made the decision. That's what was going to happen with Jim. You know, we wish him all the best. We're on the case with Kirk. John McGuinness, we got on for Snetterton and Silverstone, and then we revisit and see basically whether that's going to affect John's 250 campaign. He did slip off it last week at Snet. Whether that was the case, we don't think it was really. So no, we're on the case, and we're going to be up there fighting with Jim.
Well, that's in the Super Sports. First of all, he's got to do it in the Superbikes. Hodgson those on pole, John Reynolds second, Steve Hislop on the Yamaha third, Chris Walker fourth on a Suzuki. Where are those Hondas? Mackenzie, Hayden, Plater and Crawford round out row 2. And it's James Tozen to give Honda the first taste of any success there on row 3. Marty Craggles there, Michael Rutter, Paul Young, the Teamsters on the level 3 Yamahas. And on row 4, Paul Brown heads out the official Honda boys of Sean Emmett, and deputising for Shaky Byrne, Rob Frost. Crockford is there, first of the privateers. The hype about his Alton clash with Walker's a bit of a yawn now. Hodgson's set on chasing Reynolds for the title, but Walker's close too. Who's going to win? Everywhere we went, we found an expert.
Definitely Neil Hodgson. He's the man who appears to be on it. He's doing his proud, I think.
Chris Walker, fabulous rider. He's done well this season. I think he'll do well today.
Come on, John Reynolds!
Come on, Chris Walker!
Hodgson, he's the man. He's going to get it on today, definitely. I'm going to support Chris Walker, and he's going to do it. Yeah, him and Hodgson might be at elbows, but Walker will do it.
British Superbike racers are world class, and they give us that little bit extra. We're about to reach the halfway stage of the season, and there's tension on the grid.
Just down here on the second row, Neil Mackenzie. Neil, looking for a good start here. We've just been talking about your form and how it's improvement, but you need a good start, don't you?
Yes, that's always important, but we're in the second row of the grid and not too far away from the front guys, so I get the Ducati off the line pretty good, so I'm up for it.
How you feeling?
Nervous, but angry, so that's positive.
Nervous and angry, that's what I like to hear. If Mackenzie is nervous and angry, we're in for a good race. Follow me down here to the front row. Talking of, well, angry, here's the stalker. A little bit, well, we say miffed a little bit about those points, but I think you'll make amends on the track, won't you, in terms of your way of fighting against the point system?
Yeah, well, we'll just be out there doing what we can do best, you know that.
In terms of the battles, we've seen it all through the season. What is your plan in this one? We've got to hear this. We've only a couple of seconds now before the start. What's your plan in terms of trying to battle out there?
Well, I mean, I haven't actually seen the fast guys out on the track this weekend. They generally try and stay away from them in practice and that, so you kind of don't know what you're up against. But I think the Ducatis will be strong, real strong around the complex, where there's a lot of time spent on the side of the tyre. And my bike's pretty quick out the back, so, you know, I think it'll be half and half. I think it should be pretty even, and looking forward to a good battle.
Hodgson's the boy at the moment. Chris Walker can only watch in second place. John Reynolds sneezing his way to third. Hayden, Plater, Mackenzie, Hislop and Young are the top 8. In ninth place, the first of the Hondas, it's Sean Emmett in front of James Toseland. Paul Brown headed home, the first of the privateers. David Heel in 12th place. John Crawford got back on to finish 13th and grab some points. Championship standings, John Reynolds just a 1-point lead now from Neil Hodgson in second place. He's on a charge. Walker's third, he's closing too. Hayden, Hizzy, Mackenzie, Plater and Crawford round out the top 8. Claire Smith is standing well back from Little John.
I'm disappointed, but I couldn't respond to that. I was absolutely knackered. You know, I've had a cold for the last week, and I just couldn't concentrate and couldn't put things together.
Couldn't catch Hodgson out there, could you?
No, he was flying. I did what I could early on in the race, and they pulled a little bit of a gap, and then I closed it down. I felt really good, and then I just started to make a couple of mistakes, and then that was it really. Just pulled enough of a gap, and I had no toe down the straight, and I was just struggling a little bit to stay with him. But no, he rode fantastically, controlled the race from the front, and hopefully we'll have a better ride in the next one.
You said before the race you were a little bit concerned that you're a half a second faster than everybody in qualifying, that they might try to stalk you, try to stay with you. Obviously Chris tried, but he couldn't keep with you.
Yeah, early on sounds like a funny excuse, but I got a massive bug on my visor and it went underneath my tear off, so I took my tear off and I had this bug, and it happened on about lap 3, and it was really hard to concentrate because I couldn't really see the apex of the corners. But I tried to just forget about it, but it was obviously, it's there. It's like riding with one eye. So I found it quite difficult the first sort of 5 or 6 laps. Then I relaxed a little bit.